Good afternoon everybody, and welcome to my local beach again. This afternoon it's all going to be about long exposure, basically what long exposure we're going to be using. So I've got a few variations I can be doing from 15 seconds to 30 seconds to 60 seconds, 120 seconds and then 240 seconds. So that's going to be what this afternoon's vlog's going to be about, is to look at the difference between the long exposure and then the extreme long exposure. So without further ado, let's get the camera out. Let's get on the tripod and let's do the experimentation. Okay, so if you've seen some of my vlogs before, you just need to ignore this next 30 seconds to 1 minute, because I'm just going to put the camera on the tripod and show you which camera kit I'm using and what filter system I'm using, and then we'll get back on with the vlog. So without further ado, my camera that I'm going to be using is my trusty Z9, which is a great camera, sturdy camera. That's going to go on the tripod first, and I'm then going to take off the lens cap, and then I'm going to put on some filters to get the long exposures basically. So I'm going to get my filters now. At the moment I'm using a system called kasefilters, and basically I've got a filter holder, and obviously before I put that on the tripod I'm just going to put the bag on the tripod. So that's done by a carabiner. I've got a little clip here and I'm just going to sit on the edge of there like so. I'm then going to put on the filter holder. So my filter holder goes on the front of the lens. In the filter holder I've actually got a CPL filter. So that's the CPL filter there. You can see it just with that there. And then obviously the filter holder. The CPL goes in the back of the filter holder, clips in magnetically, so it's fine. And then the whole system clips onto the front of the lens there, which is like that. So that's my filter system there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put on an ND filter. And it's looking quite bright at the moment, so I'm probably going to go straight in with a 10-stop filter to give me the desired effect for the long exposures. So I'm going to drag out a 10-stop. In the case filter bag I've actually got 3 stops, 6 stops and 10 stops, plus I've got a couple of ND grads as well, soft grads. And so let's stick on the 10-stop filter, so 3, 6 and my 10-stop filter, so that should be an ND 1000, which it is. That's just going to clip in the front, just drops in there nicely. And then all I'm going to do now, because the sky's quite bright, actually the sky's quite moody, I could almost get away with it, but we'll put the ND filter on there as well. So I actually have a soft grad, which is 1.5, and then that's going to come in from the back there. So again, that's just going to drop on the front. Nice and easy system there, so it's just going to drop on there. And then I'm rocking and rolling basically, so I'm ready to go. So I'm just going to flip the camera around, set up my composition, and then we'll get the first picture of the day and see how it goes. Okay, I turned you off and I've just put on the actual CMU, which is my iPhone, which is going through an adapter called an Axoon CMU. And then basically all that's doing is showing you what the camera's looking at, so you can see exactly what my settings are now, what I'm doing, so you can see it all there nicely. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm actually going to put you into camera. That should pop up in a second. And it is now, and I'm going to turn you around now, and we're going to spin it round and take you to my first composition. So my first composition is going to be over here. I'm going to line it up there. I'll just take off my display. There we go, so I can see the picture. Let me zoom in a little bit further, so all I've got is water. That's looking quite nice there. Turn it this way a little bit more like that, and that's looking pretty good. I'm going to move my focus point over to the actual basket at the end, get that on there, lock it onto there. That's it, it's locked onto there. In fact, actually, what I tend to do is go with my thirds. There we go. Stick it onto there, pick a point in the middle, about a third in. Lock it on there, that's looking good. Let's bring my display back in now. Bring my horizontal. This is going to wait for Sid Hayward's thing to come off the front of my phone. Okay, so I'm just checking my horizontals. You just had a quick look at that, so that's me done there. I'm going to check my graduated filter and bring it in from the top a little bit more like that. Go try polarizer, see if it does anything. It does. It's bringing the sea in the background there, nice and dark. And I think that's pretty much to go. Check on my focus point again. My go-to settings are normally 30 seconds to get my first exposure. I'd like to use f11. Okay, I'm on f11 now. I'm going to change my ISO now to get my exposure difference. So watch the histogram go up, 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 up. And I think that is it about there. So ISO 250 to get the perfect exposure, and I've got a delay on there, which is half a second. Press the button, and that should be exposing now. Okay, that exposure is just done there now, and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to push it into play, and then I'm going to stick you into camera so you can have a quick look at it. That should come up any second, and it's in camera now. So have a quick look at that. So basically I'm going to have a quick zoom in on the picture. Looks really, really sharp on the groins there, looks really nice. Nice soft water, that's lovely there, and a nice sharp basket. Nothing wrong with that at all. Absolutely spot on, there you go. So I'm going to come back out of there. I'm going to check out my display, check my histogram. Histogram's give me just probably spot on for exposure wise, so that's looking really, really good there, and that's pretty good there. That's looking really, really nice. So come back out of there on the display. So I'm going to turn you off here for now. I'm back in camera now. I'm just showing you what my settings are, which is 30 seconds, f11, ISO 250. Now normally I would change my ISO and have it down at 64, which is where I prefer to be. So that was at 250. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to bring it down 3 clicks. So I'm going to click 1, 2, 3. So one stop is 3 increments on this camera, and then I'm then going to take the exposure to 60 seconds. So basically I'm counteracting it. Okay, so I'm going to let that one go, and that's on its way now. One of the things with the Nikon cameras is that everything's really accurate up to 30 seconds. As soon as you go beyond 30 seconds, you've got to go to old school basically. So this one's going to go out at 60 seconds, and as soon as this one's done, we'll then probably do a 2-minute, which will be the next one, and we'll have a look at the difference and then see what the water's doing. Now looking out here at the moment, it's a bit hazy at the moment because what we got is a head-on wind coming at us from the sea, and then whatever spray's coming up is blowing towards us. So I've got to be mindful of that and make sure that I clean the front of the filters all the time, because you get like a slight haze in the front of it, and then obviously it's like looking through dirty windows basically. It's not going to be very clear. So we're just going to wait for this one to come up. We'll see what 1 minute's like. Okay, and we're back again now. So once again, I'm just going to bring you back into camera. We're in play at the moment. I'm going to bring you back in camera. Once again, we are on. I'm going to go to display mode first. There's a display there. That's looking pretty good. Exposure is still exactly the same because I went down 3 clicks and back up on the other version. So that's looking good for display, spot on there. And then what I'm going to do is just check my focus. And straight away I can start to see the water softening. And the interesting thing, what I'm really looking for, is I'm looking at the clouds at the moment. I'm more interested to see what the clouds will do once we get up into 2 minutes and 4 minutes. That's my aim today, is to try and get some nice gentle clouds. So at the moment, slightly distracting looking at these clouds, but never mind. So let's move on to the next one. So I'm going to come out of this now. It should be back onto me again now, so we're out of camera. So I'm back in camera. Okay, so it looks dark on the screen, but bear in mind what I said about the 30 seconds on the preview. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go to 1 minute, which is 120 seconds. And again, because I've done that, I need to make it more sensitive. I need to turn my ISO down again. So I'm going to click into there. So what I'm going to do now is going to change my ISO 3 clicks. 1, 2, 3. So I'm now at 120 seconds, f11, ISO 64. It looks really dark on the monitor, but it should be exactly the same. So once again, I'm going to let that one go. And we're back in camera now. So once again, I'm going to just do a check on the display to make sure that my exposures were correct. As you see, the exposures are exactly the same, so that's working really, really well. Let's come back out of that. Okay, and then let me do a quick check on my focus point. Focus is looking better. Now what happens is, as we do the longer exposures, they get a little bit less contrasty. So you can see the water now is looking really, really soft. I'm going to come back out of there now. But the nice thing that's happening is the sky's just starting to do some nice long streaks. So we're going to move on to the next one, guys. I'm going to come back out of play mode now, so I'm going to bring it out of camera. And you should be back on with me now. There we go there. So I'm just going to click into here. And then as soon as this wakes up, we'll do exactly the same again. So once again, that last exposure, and we're back in camera again now. So the last exposure was at 120 seconds, which was 2 minutes, f11, 64 ISO. So this time, we're going to go to 240 seconds. 240, I'm going to leave it at f11, I'm going to change my ISO again. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And once again, we're ready to go, and I'm going to press the start. And we've now got a 4-minute exposure going now. So this is pretty interesting. And the thing that I'd be kind of interested on this one is what I want to see is some beautiful skies, clouds that have been really stretched and blurred in nicely, and then I'll not have to worry about using different skies because the clouds are working really well on the 4-minute exposure. So yeah, cross fingers, let's hope this is going to be a good one. Okay, and that's another exposure done. This is now a 240-second exposure, which is going to be 4 minutes. So I'm just going to bring this up quickly. And there you go. So in the display mode, exactly perfect exposure. So the old system works really, really well. Let's come back out of there. Let me have a look at those groins. Groins are lovely and sharp. Lovely. Loving that. That's looking great. That should be nice and tight. That's looking great. So there. Now the most important bit, which is the bit I'm excited about, is I'm looking at these clouds. So there you go. So if you look at the clouds at the top there now, they have streaked really, really, really nice. So I'm loving those clouds. So yeah, so that's worked really, really well. That's a 4-minute exposure. So really impressed with that. We've done a 30, a 60, a 120 and a 240 exposure. And really, really impressed. I was more really interested to see how the clouds would work, and it's worked just a treat. So quite like the idea of this 4-minute exposure. It's pretty good. Okay, that's lovely there, guys. I think that's us done now. We've managed to get the nice 4 exposures that I was after. The experiment's been done. So what I'm going to do now, I'm probably going to head back to the studio. We'll look at it in Lightroom. But thanks very much for staying with us this long. Much appreciated. If you like what you see, please feel free to like and subscribe. Put that button on there, and we'll see you in a little while in the back of the studio. Okay, and welcome back to the studio. What we're going to do now, we're going to do the second part of this video, which is going to be having a quick look at the images that we took in Hornsea, the long exposure images, and I'll do a quick post-production on one of the images as well, just to show you how I will clean it up as well. So without further ado, let's get cracked on. We're going to go into Lightroom first and just check them out. So okay, here we go. So we're in here now, so I'm going to click into the first image, and the first image was a 30-second image, f11, 250 ISO, and as you can see there, it's quite a nice pleasing image as it is there. That's lovely. I've done the rule of thirds, as you can see there. So basically the horizons on the bottom rule of thirds, and the fence post is on the right hand side of the rule of thirds, so it's looking quite nice there. The sea is a little bit choppy, so you're getting like a bit of a ghosting effect around there, so it's not a clean, nice, ethereal, smooth fine art, but it's not too bad. So on 30 seconds, so basically this video is all about looking at the shutter speeds and looking at the actual clouds and what the clouds do with the longer shutter speeds and streaking and all that type of stuff. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to have a quick look at all the 4 images now. Okay, so on this one here, the clouds are not too bad there. It's almost acceptable. We're now going to move over to the next image, which will be a 60-second there. So you can see the clouds starting to go, and you can see the water starting to get a bit smoother and milkier now there. So we're going to move on to the next image. And we're on to 120. Now the clouds are starting to work really nicely here. The only downside is this light band at the very end there. So it's just a shame it wasn't all the way to the horizon, but you can't have everything. That's looking really good. Once again, the water's getting very smooth. You're starting to get a little bit less contrast in the image as well. And we're going to move over to the last image, which was the 240-second exposure, which is a 4 minute image. And that looks really, really nice. I'm really liking these clouds. They've streaked across very, very nicely and given quite a nice ethereal, pleasing fine art effect. So that looks really, really good. The water hasn't changed much in the last 2 images. It's pretty much exactly the same. So you've got like a little bit of a ghosting effect, but looks really, really nice there. Nice and clean, nice and ethereal, very, very fine arty. So I think what we're going to do now, I'm going to come back out of there. I've got a couple of other examples down the bottom. Here, so this is one of my reasons I did the experiment yesterday. So this is one of my previous shots from last week in Mapleton. This was the original sky again. So what I've been doing in the past, I've been using a softer sky. So if you look at the next one there, and it's just kind of softened the whole thing down a little bit more really, so it's much more appealing compared to that there. I just find this too distracting, so I'm quite liking the idea of maybe doing some 4-minute exposures and things like this as well. But again, it's all down to the clouds on the day. Okay, coming back out of there. Again, we've got another one here from Sperm Point, where I find that the clouds, so this is a 30-second exposure, and I think really if I'd done a 4-minute one on this could have been quite nice. This would have been really, really nice streaks that will probably work very, very well.
So what I did on this one, I used the fast exposure, and as you can see, I've used the original sky and on a fast exposure, and then put that on top of the slow exposure. So it looks really, really nice. Coming back out again. So once again, this is a Mapleton one I did about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Same thing again, the streaks are just a bit too eye-catching, so really that was a 60-seconder. Maybe it's one at 240 seconds. This would have all really gone. It would have probably looked really nice, but there you go. So again, what I did with this one, I used another image from a faster part of the actual video, and I then blended that into the rocks on that, which looks much nicer. It's basically less eye-catching. So if you come back to here, you can see where your eyes are all over with the sky, and here you got a calmer sky, and it looks much nicer. So that was the idea of doing an experiment with the skies. I've done this in black and white to give you an idea what they look like in black and white. Again, we're on the 30 seconds. It looks quite nice. Onto the 60 seconds where it's just starting to go. 120 seconds, and then that looks really nice there at 240 seconds. So yeah, that's quite a nice picture. That I quite like that. Okay, so what we're going to do now, I'm going to take you to the top again, and I'm going to find the original raw image, which is going to be here, and I'm going to work on the 240 second, which is the 4-minute exposure, and I'll just take you through how I would just do a quick process on this now. So here we go. So we're going to go into the develop module. And then basically it's going to check my histogram at the top there, so just move my exposure up slightly, so it's probably about there. I'm then going to move my whites up, so I'm going to press my option key down again, just move my whites up to the top. You can see them burning out. Just bring them back in a little bit there. I'm going to do the same with the black, push the blacks out and then get it about there, so that's not too bad. I'm going to bring my highlights down just a little bit there, and a little bit of shadow detail out there, and that looks like quite nice there. I'm going to do a little bit of clarity, and I think that's pretty much it there. I'm going to take the crop now. I'm going to go to a 16:9, which is going to be the 4K, which is going to be 16:9, which is for YouTube, and then I'm going to make it slightly smaller, just a touch there. So I'm going to work on the real rule of thirds. So this post is actually on the rule of thirds, and then I'm going to use my angle tool there, my spirit level, hit that there, put that onto there, so I can get the horizons perfect, stick that onto the rule of thirds, and there you go. That's it. I'm going to do a little bit of graduation filters there, so I'm going to use my linear gradient. I'm going to bring down just a little bit there, just darken the sky down, not a lot, just a little bit. There you go, that's just enough, so I don't want to get too dirty. And this bit at the bottom, I'll do another new linear gradient, and I'm going to bring that into there, just bring it up there gently, and then bring the highlights in just a little bit there. I'm going to soften it down with the texture, just texture down just a little bit, down to 30. There we go, that's lovely there. And I may even use a little bit of dehaze to bring the bottom part in there. So that's dirty again, bring it back out. Okay, there we go. And let's go down to the sharpen module. So here is the sharpen. I'm going to click on the masking, press the option key down again, and then you'll see just going to get rid of everything. The only thing I want to be sharp is actually the groin. And then take that up to about 90%. There you go. So it's only on that little bit there. And then lens correction, I'll just click them both. And that's me ready to go now. So I'm going to go into Photoshop now. So I'm going to press Command and E. That should then flip over into Photoshop. Waiting for it to wake up. So I'm going to click on the Photoshop background, and it should pop in any second. There it is there. It's a large image. It's 105 megabytes at the moment. So I'm just going to make it back to YouTube size. So I'm going to bring it down to image size. It's going to be 3840, which is 4K. There you go, 3840, and that's it there. That's ready to go to YouTube now. Take it up to 100%. There you go, and I can work on that quickly there. So there we go, that's looking good there. Again, I'm going to press Command and L, just do a levels. And you can see there, I'm just going to bring the blacks in a little bit, and I'm going to bring in the highlights just a little bit there. That's not too bad. There we go. And I can have a look at the overall picture, lighten and darken, and that's about it there. That's good. I'm now going to go into Camera Raw, so it'll be Command, Shift, and A together. That brings me into Camera Raw there. That's lovely. I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm just going to bring my linear down just a little bit there, just nice and gentle, probably about to there. Let's have a look at that. Bring that down just a touch more. That's not too bad. And then I just need to darken this bit down here. So again, another linear. Bring that into there, and that will do there. So I'm going to bring that down. Here we go. And that's nice there. That's about enough. The thing with these long exposures is not a great deal to do. While I'm looking at it there, I can just see there's a little boy still there, so I'm just going to remove that. That's lovely, that's done. And I can just see a little spot there, which I'll remove, which is a dust spot on my chip. Right, that's that done there now. Let's have a look at that. So I'll do what I do with my classic stuff there. I'm going to make another layer of that. So I'm going to go into the layers. I'm going to press Command and J. So I'm going to make a copy of the layer. I'm going to copy the groin because I want to make like a half color and a black and white out of this. So I'm going to bring my filter, come down to select, down to subject, and then that should copy the groin bit only. In it comes, and that's looking really well. Going to click on Apple J. So what it's doing is copy and pasting. I'll take the two other layers off to let you have a quick look what I've done. There it is there. I'm then going to press Command Shift and A again back into Camera Raw, just onto that bit there. So I'm going to pick up the shadows, just a little bit of shadow detail in there, a little bit of contrast, and I'm going to make it a little bit brighter there, and that will do for that. I'm going to go OK, and then have a look at that there now, and that looks really, really nice there. So that's pretty much ready to go. So what we're going to do now, we're going to make it go to black and white. So let's have a quick look at that there. So I'm going to click on, in fact, before I do that, I'm just going to flatten it quickly. I'm going to file, save as, color. Save that to the desktop as a JPEG. There we go. And that's done. Go back to history, come back one click, and that should be back on my layers. I'm now going to put a black and white layer on there. So I'm going to hover over the Photoshop actions. Going to go to, I've got matte, strong, neutral. And you can see as you hover over them, they all change there. So I like the strong one, so I'm going to click on strong there. That's quite nice. Okay, what I've done there, I've made a mistake and I've put the, oh, that's okay. What I'm going to do is going to move my groin above the black and white layer. There you go. So the colour's coming back from the groin. There you go. So I can see what's going on there now. Okay, I'm going to put the gradient map on again now. So I'm going to click onto there, come down to the gradient map. Let's have another go there. Click it onto Classic, take the reverse off, and there you go. That's it, done there. Just remove that one out of the way. And that looks quite nice there. I'm going to flatten that now. So I'm going to click onto there, and with that layer there, I'm going to merge those layers. Merge the layers. So we've got basically a black and white, and then we've got a color on top of it. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to just tone the color down a little bit to about 60%, 70%. So there's just a hint of color in there. That looks good. The only thing I'm seeing now is that this is a bit light down here. So I'm going to go back into Camera Raw now. So I'm going to click onto Camera Raw, so which is going to be Command, Shift, and A. Okay, so what we need to do is going to use our selection tools. We're going to go into linear gradient again. Let's try and get this bottom bit a little bit more detail into it. So let's bring the highlights down first, just a little bit in highlights. Bring the exposure down. There you go. It's just so I can see some detail in there. That's better. That's much better. I might as well put another one on the top just a little bit, just to help it along and bring your eye in. Same again. Just going to bring that down just a little bit more there, like that. There you go. That's not too bad. Okay. And I think what I may do, I'm going to make it smaller, and I'm going to make one more radial gradient. I'm going to do it over the whole picture. Bring that down to there. I'm going to invert that. Invert the mask. There you go. And then we're going to move it so it's just going to sit there, and then we're going to bring the exposure down again. There you go. You can see it working there, and that'll do there. That's lovely. Go okay. And there you go. So there's a little bit of color. Turn it on, turn it off, so you can see the color coming in, going off. And I'm going to save that. I'm going to flatten that and save as a half color. PNW HC, save that to the desktop. So that's it done. I think that's pretty much it there. So if I turn that off, press F twice on the keyboard, and you can see there that's quite a nice images. That looks really, really nice. There's nothing else really you can do to that. I know you can see the horizon and all that, but I think it works really nicely. I like the way the sky goes. I love the just the smoothness of the whole picture. Is lovely. So there you go. So that's it. I think I'm going to bring that back. I'll show you. I've done it in black and white and I've done it in color. I think it looks better in black and white because I think when you get an image that if you get an image that basically hasn't got a lot of color in it, it's kind of leading itself to a black and white in the first place, really. So but there you go. Let's have a look at those, see what you think of them both there. So you've got the black and white and the color there. I've lost them under Lightroom. There you go. So there they are there. Bring the Photoshop background there, and here we go. So that's it there. So yeah, so that's it, guys. That's a quick one for this week. It was just a quick look into checking out really long exposures. I'm going to be doing a lot more of that in the future, but I think it's only going to work when you get the right clouds. You can't have clouds that are too distracting because it'll take a lot of streaking to get rid of that. But you still have to have some detail in the cloud to get the nice shapes as you've seen on the screen there. So yeah, so it's been a good experiment, and I hope you've picked something up from it. You may put it into use, but I'm not one to do 4-minute exposures, but I may start doing a few more in the future. So that's us. If you like what you see, please feel free to like and subscribe again. That'd be much appreciated, and then we'll catch you on the next one.